Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We have a few quick announcements before we begin, inshallah. Please make dua for Sister Nadia Harfoush, who passed away earlier this week. May Allah grant her Jannat al-Firdaus and grant ease and patience to her family. Ameen. Also, the following individuals are in need of shifa. Sister Ruh Hafsa, who is in her terminal stages of cancer. Brother Habibullah, who is the brother of Nadir Khan. Brother Tiryali Ali, who is the father-in-law of Brother Mustafa Ishanzada. Brother Abdul Fattah Aziz. Brother Sayyid Masavi. Sister Marzia. Sister Rana Khan. Brother Huzail Saad Abbasi. Sister Aisha Adam. Sister Dilara Akhtar. Sister Maryam Khanoum. Sister Zakiya Kabir. Sister Fatima Hisabi. Brother Zia Samadi. Sister Sonia Karim. Sister Sana Sattar. Brother Maher Lutfi Saheb. Sister Sarzina Haidar. And our beloved son Zain Yusuf. May Allah grant these individuals a quick and speedy recovery. Ameen. ICIE will be hosting a family night tonight with Guidance Residential. The event will begin at 6 p.m. ICIE will be hosting a sisters only lecture on January 5th at 11 a.m. with the young alima from Canada, Sister Taymiya Zubair. The topic will be overcoming hardships. The ICIE end of the year survey will be sent out soon, so be on the lookout for it. It'll be out on our Facebook, WhatsApp, and in your emails. The following two classes are for sisters only. Hifth Surah Al-Baqarah is every Thursday at 10 a.m. and Khatm Al-Quran is every Tuesday at 10 a.m. The second khutbah will be beginning at 2:45 today, inshallah. Also, the Fajr Club is still going on every Sunday, so please try to make it out. And if you haven't done so already, please consider donating to your masjid. If you're interested, you can do so by visiting us online at ranchomasjid.org. And finally, today's khatib is Brother Saheb Ashrafi. He'll be here in 2 minutes, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. قال الله عز وجل في كتابه الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وقال في مقام آخر: يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. وقال في مقام آخر: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. My brothers and sisters in Islam, for the Jummah khutbah today, I wanted to talk about a story that I think I've mentioned here once before, many years ago, but I thought it was a good time to revisit it. I think it was almost 7 or 8 years ago I gave the same khutbah. But it's good to remind myself and and everyone else, as reminders are beneficial for the believers. وَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَى تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And remind them, because verily reminders are beneficial to the believers, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran. So the story I wanted to mention today is a story found in Surah Al-Kahf, and that is a story between Musa and Al-Khidr alayhim salam. And the origins of the story begin or start off when Musa alayhi salam was asked by Bani Israel, who amongst the people is the most knowledgeable? Who is the most knowledgeable person amongst mankind? So Musa alayhi salam then replied, Ana, I am. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not like this answer. It's mentioned in tafsir. He did not like that Musa alayhi salam didn't refer the answer back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say something like, Wallahu alam, Allah knows best. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then informed Musa alayhi salam that there's a servant on earth that has some knowledge that you do not have. So Musa alayhi salam immediately, of course, humbled himself and he said, Oh Allah, please allow me to meet this person. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then instructed him to meet this servant of his at the junction of the two seas. So remember, Musa alayhi salam, just remember who he is at this point. He is actually the most knowledgeable person on earth at the time. There's no one that has more knowledge of revelation than Musa alayhi salam, right? He is someone that used to speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly. وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. He directly spoke to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed, He could have just taught him anything directly. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted him to make this journey and meet this servant of his, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But another point I wanted to mention here is that, when we attain knowledge, we learn it through different means, right? One of the ways we learn it is by reading books, reading different literature and so forth. Of course, we have online resources now. We also learn by people teaching us directly, one-to-one, or in a classroom setting. But also we learn things through experience. Things that cannot be taught even by a person or even through a book, but rather they can only be learned through experience. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted Musa alayhi salam to experience what he's about to experience, which we'll talk about. So remember, he's in a desert in Madian where there's hardly any water, and he's leaving this desert, traveling all the way to the junction of the two seas on this long journey for what? To seek knowledge. And he's already the most knowledgeable person on earth. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants him to meet the servant because he has something he could learn from him. So anyway, as Musa alayhi salam makes his journey, he finally reaches the junction of the two seas, and he sees this person, Al-Khidr alayhi salam, and they greet each other with salam. And then Musa alayhi salam then mentions, I came to you to learn from you because verily you have been given some knowledge that I do not have. So please allow me to join you and learn from you. So what does Al-Khidr alayhi salam say? As we read in Surah Al-Kahf, إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِيَ صَبْرًا. You will not be able to have patience with me. And think about this for 1 second. Who is he telling this to? Musa alayhi salam, the one who probably has the most patience out of all the human beings that have existed in mankind. He dealt with Bani Israel, showed them sign after sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, went through so many hardships, right? Dealt with their disbelief after disbelief, belief and then disbelief. He's telling him, you're not going to be able to have patience with me. So what does Musa alayhi salam say? Does he respond arrogantly and say, who are you to tell me this? I just went through so much with Bani Israel, I'm a Nabi of Allah. No. He says, قَالَ سَتَجِدُنِي إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ صَابِرًا. He humbles himself, of course, and he says, Inshallah, I will be patient. وَلَا أَعْصِي لَكَ أَمْرًا. And I won't give you a hard time when I'm joining you as a companion. So Al-Khidr alayhi salam agrees, and he says, look, you're going to see me doing some things that are very strange, that may shock you, that are going to startle you. So don't ask me about them until I give you an explanation for why I did them. فَلَا تَسْأَلْنِي عَنْ شَيْءٍ حَتَّى أُحْدِثَ لَكَ مِنْهُ ذِكْرًا. So he agreed. And they start off the first part of their journey, and they're walking along the shore. And they see a ship there. And the people of the ship, out of their gratitude and knowing Al-Khidr alayhi salam, they allowed Musa and Al-Khidr alayhi salam to board the ship for free. They let them on for free. And after they boarded the ship, Al-Khidr alayhi salam, he took an axe-like tool and he put a hole into the ship. He literally put a hole into the ship. And when Musa alayhi salam saw this, remember there's no one who upholds justice more than Musa alayhi salam, he was shocked. He said, قَالَ أَخَرَقْتَهَا لِتُغْرِقَ أَهْلَهَا لَقَدْ جِئْتَ شَيْئًا إِمْرًا. Did you put a hole into the ship so that the people of the ship could drown? What is wrong with you? And then what did Al-Khidr alayhi salam say? قَالَ أَلَمْ أَقُلْ إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِيَ صَبْرًا. Didn't I tell you, you won't be able to have patience with me? Did you remember our agreement? Not to ask me about the things you see me doing until I give you an explanation for them. And Musa alayhi salam remembered immediately. And he said, لا تؤاخذني بما نسيت ولا ترهقني من أمري يسرا. Don't hold me accountable for what I forgot. Give me another chance. And Al-Khidr alayhi salam accepted. And they moved on. After leaving the ship, they went across, walking along the shore again. And this time they reached a group of young boys, some young children. And Khidr alayhi salam went to one of the kids, one of those children, and he kills the child right there on the spot, in front of Musa alayhi salam. And once again, remember, Musa alayhi salam is a Nabi of Allah, a man of justice, who upholds justice like no other. In fact, if you remember from the story of Musa alayhi salam, when he was assisting two people that were having an argument with each other and started fighting, when he was assisting one of them, what happened? He punched him and the person died. He was so strong. But he was aiding someone that was, in need and being oppressed. So he just saw a child being killed. And you think he's not going to say anything? Of course he's going to say something. He said, أَقَتَلْتَ نَفْسًا زَكِيَّةً بِغَيْرِ نَفْسٍ لَقَدْ جِئْتَ شَيْئًا نُكْرًا. Did you kill a young innocent child for no reason that did nothing wrong? Verily you committed an evil deed. What is wrong with you? And then Al-Khidr alayhi salam reminded him again. قَالَ أَلَمْ أَقُلْ لَكَ إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِيَ صَبْرًا. Didn't I tell you, you won't be able to have patience with me? Didn't you remember our agreement? Did you forget? And then Musa alayhi salam immediately realized and he said, قَالَ إِن سَأَلْتُكَ عَنْ شَيْءٍ بَعْدَهَا فَلَا تُصَاحِبْنِي. If I ask you one more time about something that you do, then don't take me as a companion. فَلَا تُصَاحِبْنِي قَدْ بَلَغْتَ مِن لَدُنِّي عُذْرًا. You have received an excuse from me. So then they go on to the next part of their journey. فَانْطَلَقَ حَتَّى إِذَا أَتَيَا أَهْلَ قَرْيَةٍ. They reached a town, and the people of this town, they weren't very nice to Musa alayhi salam and Al-Khidr alayhi salam. They weren't hospitable to them. Usually when a guest comes to you at your house or maybe even at your work, wherever it may be, you're hospitable to your guest. You treat them nicely, you welcome them, you even entertain them with either some drinks or food, maybe give them a place to sit down, maybe even a place to stay if they're coming at your house. Whatever the case is, you're hospitable to your guests. These people were not hospitable to Musa alayhi salam and Al-Khidr alayhi salam whatsoever. In fact, they were quite rude, very mean. Despite that fact, Musa alayhi salam and Al-Khidr alayhi salam entered the town, entered the village, and they saw a wall that was leaning over. And Al-Khidr alayhi salam decided to fix that wall and make that wall upright. And Musa alayhi salam, noticing this, he just passed a comment, قَالَ لَوْ شِئْتَ لَاتَّخَذْتَ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا. That, hey, you know what? They were kind of rude to us when we came in. They didn't give us anything. Nothing to drink, nothing to eat, nowhere to stay. Maybe you could have taken some lunch money from them for fixing this wall, or some type of wage, right? قَالَ لَوْ شِئْتَ لَاتَّخَذْتَ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا. Maybe you could have taken some wages for fixing this wall. And right there, Al-Khidr alayhi salam then said, قَالَ هَذَا فِرَاقُ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنِكَ. That this is the parting between me and you. Our journey ends here. سَأُنَبِّئُكَ بِتَأْوِيلِ مَا لَمْ تَسْتَطِعْ عَلَيْهِ صَبْرًا. And now I'm going to tell you about all those things that you were not able to have patience on. And here, inshallah, I'll mention what he said, but also hopefully extract some lessons from the story as well. So he said, أَمَّا السَّفِينَةِ. As for the first part of our journey, when we boarded the ship. Remember, the story began when they boarded the ship. The people of the ship recognized them, and they allowed them to board for free. He said, I put a hole into that ship because that ship belonged to some poor people. And this was their only means of livelihood. And on their journey in the sea, they were going to come across a cruel king who would seize every good ship. And had this king seen a fault or an imperfection in the ship, he was going to let it go. So I, in fact, allowed this whole ship to be saved for these poor people by putting that hole into it. Let me pause right here on this part of the story. What lesson can we learn from this? Well, first of all, the first lesson I want to mention, and maybe this is something we miss sometimes, is the lesson of sadaqah. And some of you may be asking, well, where's the sadaqah here? The people of the ship, did they not allow Musa alayhi salam and Al-Khidr alayhi salam to board the ship for free? They did. Did they charge them anything? No. It was an act of sadaqah on their part. But what did that act of sadaqah do? It saved them from a calamity. And that's one of the benefits of sadaqah, by the way. When you give, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saves you from some calamities. There's a lot of benefits in giving sadaqah. Another lesson is that initially the people on the ship, they saw the hole, they thought they were rendered a loss here and a misfortune. But they didn't realize that this small loss, this small misfortune saved them from an even larger misfortune, a larger calamity. And that's something we can also learn from this. Is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes may inflict you with a small harm, but rather it's to save you from a larger disaster. Right? You may be driving on the road and you have a flat tire. No need to start cursing and get upset. Maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saving you from an accident down the road, right? Or some other calamity down the road. Now, this doesn't mean we drive cars with ball tires and nails in them, right? That's ignorance, okay? You don't want to do that. Now you're putting yourself in calamity, all right? Don't blame Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for anything that happens after that. But if you've taken proper precautions in life and something happens to happen along the way, قَدَّرَ اللَّهُ مَا شَاءَ فَعَلَ. Accept the qadr of Allah, and inshallah, maybe He was saving you from something worse. If I can have the brothers move up, inshallah. So maybe He is saving you from something worse. The next part of the story, Al-Khidr alayhi salam mentions, and he talks about the boy that he killed. So he said, as for that boy, وَأَمَّا الْغُلَامِ فَكَانَ أَبَوَاهُ مُؤْمِنَيْنِ. His parents were believers. They were righteous people. Believing, righteous, pious people. And had they seen this boy grow up, had this boy grown up, unfortunately he would have grown up to become a rebellious and disbelieving child. Something that would have been absolutely heartbreaking for them to see. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to replace this child for them with another child. So one lesson we learn from this here, and first of all, some of you may be saying, well, that's kind of harsh, a child died here. Well, think of it this way. When a child dies, where do they go? They go to paradise, right? Children are ma'soom. They don't start accumulating sin. like the elders do, right? We don't start accumulating our sins until we reach a certain age or a certain stage in life, right? But children are ma'asum, they're innocent. So this child left this dunya in a state where he was ma'asum. So inshallah, it turned out to be good for him. So think of it from that perspective. Another thing too is that, and this is really sad to even mention, but sometimes when you have a child grow up that is so disobedient, so rebellious, maybe even disbelieve, whatever the case is, but gives you such a hard time, you see parents saying it, right? I'm sure all of you have seen it at some point in your life. Inshallah, none of you have said this to your kids, but you would look at them and say, I wish you were never even born. Right? They give their parents such a hard time. The parents are making dua against them. Like, oh, what kind of child is this? May Allah never give anyone a child like you. So in this case, it would have been even better for this person to leave. So anyway, regarding the story, that was really the case. Al-Khidr alayhi salam, remember, took this child's life away so that this child could be replaced with another child for these believing righteous parents. Because had he grown up, he would have become really rebellious and disbelieving. Another lesson we can learn from this is that we all have loved ones. We all have loved ones. And, just here in the community, I think there was a couple deaths here locally. May Allah have mercy on their soul. But we all have loved ones, and at some point in life, we will part from our loved ones. Either they will leave us, or we will leave them. Some of you have already experienced this in the past. Some of you are experiencing it right now, and the rest will come to experience it. But when this time comes, remember that this is from the plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from His decree, and we are no one to challenge it or get upset. And there is some good behind it, inshallah, that we cannot comprehend at that moment. But we have to accept. We have to accept it. That inshallah this was better for them to go. And we know it's hard, right? You're going to shed tears. Your heart will be broken. But never lose faith in Allah and challenge Allah and get upset with His decision. Because you don't know. You don't know what the future lies ahead of us. In fact, one of the du'as that we make is what? Oh Allah, grant us life as long as you know life is good for us. أحينا إذا علمت الحياة خيرا لنا وتوفنا إذا علمت الوفاة خيرا لنا. And take us from this dunya when you know it's better for us to leave this dunya. Alhamdulillah, as Muslims, we should be ready to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala any time. Alhamdulillah. We're, obviously this dunya is a place full of difficulties and so forth, not just looking to escape it, but rather looking to enter a better company with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we should always be ready for that. And if you're not, then you got to ask yourself, why not? Am I that bad where I'm scared to die? If my life were to be taken away right now, would I be a little nervous meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So, think about that and reflect and put yourself in a position where, inshallah, if you were to go away, you wouldn't leave with regrets. When the angel of death comes to you, you wouldn't say, oh no, please send me back. I didn't perform enough good deeds. You don't want to be in that state. Of course, none of us can perform enough good deeds, but we shouldn't be in a state where we are so scared and regretful to come back here because we know we were doing a lot of wrong things. So always check yourself in that regard, especially the young ones here. There's no guarantee in life. In fact, one of the sisters that just passed away, whom there will be a janazah for, was only 18 years old. All right? Only 18. So, we came into this life without any invitation. We'll leave without any invitation as well. It's a spontaneous event that sometimes changes overnight, sometimes even in a blink of an eye. But may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us and grant us all long lives in which we perform righteous deeds. And that's a great dua to ask for too. Oh Allah, grant us a long life in which we perform righteous deeds. Not just a long life. When you ask Allah, don't just ask Him for a long life. Because there are people that live long lives, but they are living long lives of ma'siyah, of disobeying Allah, disobeying His Messenger. And in fact, if you're living a life like that, you're not living much of a life. If you are living a life disobeying Allah day and night, sleeping through prayers, being rude to people, ripping people off, cursing and so forth, watching bad things, you're living a life of destruction. Destruction not just here, but in the hereafter. The biggest destruction. So ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a long life in which you perform righteous deeds. May Allah grant us all of that. And when He takes us in a state of Iman. Ameen Rabbil Alameen. The next part of the story, Al-Khidr alayhi salam fixed this wall, because had that wall fallen over, underneath it actually was a treasure. There was some wealth that belonged to 2 orphans. And He mentioned to Musa alayhi salam that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala desired that these 2 orphans grow up and attain this treasure. So had He not fixed the wall, that treasure would have been noticed by others and taken away. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala desired that these 2 orphans be blessed with this treasure that was underneath that wall, that belonged to them. And why were they getting that treasure? Because وَكَانَ أَبُوهُمَا صَالِحًا. Their father was a righteous man. Astaghfirullah al-Azim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed these 2 orphans because their father was a righteous man. We don't know if the kids were righteous themselves, and inshallah they were, but because of this father's righteousness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed these 2 kids, these orphans. And in this is a message for every parent here, including myself first, is be a righteous parent. We all wish for our kids to be taken care of when we leave this dunya. And the best thing you could leave for them is your righteousness. You could leave them all the money you want, all the properties, stocks, you name it, equities. But if you weren't a righteous person, you didn't leave them with anything. You didn't leave them with anything. My brothers and sisters, our children have a lot of examples in life, a lot of role models. But 2 people they will never forget is mom and dad. They will never forget your example. So be a righteous father, and inshallah, through the barakah of your righteousness and mother, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of your kids. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of your kids. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us and grant us His knowledge from His beautiful book, the Quran, and allow us to extract the best of lessons from it. And may He accept all of our deeds. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. Another great lesson to understand from this whole story, and I've probably mentioned it already, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the grand planner of everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the grand planner of everything, and He has plans not just for the whole Muslim ummah as a whole, but also plans for you and me. And in fact, one of the du'as that we make, when we stand, especially in Ramadan, behind our imams, what's one of the du'as that they make? Allahumma mkur lana wala tamkur alayna. Oh Allah, plan for us, but don't plan against us. Because throughout history, there's always people that plan, and even currently right now, they plan, right? And a lot of times, unfortunately, those plans are against Allah, His deen, His servants. وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ وَمَكَرُوا مَكْرًا وَمَكَرْنَا مَكْرًا. And people plotted in the past and planned, but we also planned. And they may be planning right now as we speak. وَيَمْكُرُونَ But Allah is also planning. وَيَمْكُرُ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ Allah is the best of planners. And remember, whoever is planning, their plans don't go unrecognized. وَقَدْ مَكَرُوا مَكْرَهُمْ وَعِنْدَ اللَّهِ مَكْرُهُمْ And they plan their plans, but their plans belong and are in the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَعِنْدَ اللَّهِ مَكْرُهُمْ وَقَدْ مَكَرَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ And verily people plotted and planned in the past. فَلِلَّهِ الْمَكْرُ جَمِيعًا But planning itself belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. So who are they to plan? Allah is the grand planner of everything. But it's up to us whether we want to be a part of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plans, or unfortunately against those He plans against, or with those against He plans against. May Allah make us amongst those whom He plans for, and may He plan for us the best in this life and the hereafter. And what you can do is start here at a local level. Obviously, in the grand scheme of things, our Muslim Ummah is not doing good as a whole, right? 2018 was not really a great year. I mean, we still have the conflict in Yemen going on. Thousands of people dying. We have the biggest refugee crisis the world has ever seen. And they happen to be Muslims once again. Of course, our brothers and sisters in Syria, but also our Burmese brothers and sisters, right? We got issues all over the place. We have our leaders ordering killings of certain individuals because they didn't like what they said on social media and so forth. We got a lot of problems. Muslim Ummah is divided. In these last 100 years, we have not seen this type of division, perhaps in the history of our Ummah, right? But remember, Allah is the best of planners, and He has a plan. And it'll come back, inshallah, to the days it used to be. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? You got to start here at a local level and do your job as a Muslim. Perform your obligations and be the best that you can be. And one thing I want to mention for this community in particular, because I've been with you, and I want to mention this because I see it often amongst various people. A lot of pessimism, right? A lot of pessimism. People, when you're asked to do things or come to certain events or organize things, they say, "Oh, why, man? I'm not going to come to the masjid. Only 5 people show up to an event. We organize a speaker, 5-10 people show up. Why should we even do this? Why should I sponsor it? Why should I do this? What's the point? People only come to Jummah. They never come outside of Jummah. We get one stuff for Isha or Fajr. I don't feel like coming. Why should we, make a nice basketball court in the back? We could just go to the park across the street and play. What's the big deal? Why are we going to waste our money here?" A lot of pessimistic statements, and I could go on and on describing them, but I'm not trying to make you guys feel bad. But I want to mention is that a Muslim is not pessimistic. A Muslim is hopeful. A Muslim believes in hope and always does and acts upon it. And in fact, our Prophet ﷺ mentioned something profound. In a sahih hadith, he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, إِذَا قَامَتْ عَلَىٰ أَحَدِكُمُ الْقِيَامَةِ If the day of judgment were to be established on one of you, meaning if one of you is alive and the day of judgment has arrived, it's here. وَفِي يَدِهِ فَصِيلَةٌ And in your hand is a seed, فَلْيَغْرِسْهَا Then go ahead and plant that seed, plant that tree. Even though you know the day of judgment is upon you. That is unbelievable. O kama qala alayhi salatu wasalam. This should confirm and solidify and prevent us from ever being pessimistic. Always have hope. And if you are doing something good, don't get discouraged because of the numbers or because of the situation. As long as you know what you are doing is right, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether you get the results you'd like or not, you go ahead and do it. You go ahead and do it. And always be hopeful. Here, alhamdulillah, in our community, mashallah, this masjid's been open for close to about 10 years now. And, as you know, with any building, just like our houses, maintenance is required and upgrades are required so that it stays in place. Alhamdulillah, we have a project, which I'll talk to you shortly about right after the Jummah Khutbah. If you can just hold on for a couple of minutes, that would be great. And these are all just maintenance issues that we're dealing with. We need to upgrade our bathrooms, because a lot of them are leaking, and a lot of you are witness to this. They need some updating. And then our parking lot as well hasn't been re-asphalted in a while, and there's also certain maintenance that needs to be done every year, every 2 years, so that concrete doesn't break apart. We don't want you driving here one day and then all of a sudden there's a sinkhole, right? And then your car collapses into the ground. There's maintenance that is required. There's also one more great project regarding the kitchen. The Masjid would like to commercialize the kitchen, inshallah, so that we can start preparing meals, inshallah, for the community and for outside communities as well, inshallah. But this requires certain permits and certain things that need to be modified into the kitchen to reach commercial status. So these are 3 projects that we have in mind. Quickly after the Jummah khutbah, I'll just take 2 minutes of your time. Whatever you're able to donate would be greatly appreciated. And if some of you are in the field where you can provide assistance for these services, if you're in the construction field or know someone that could assist with this and help, then please come forward to the board, and they'll be more than glad to take your assistance. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us in this coming year in 2019 and make it a better year than 2018. Forgive us for our shortcomings in this year, and may He make us better Muslims and accomplish a lot more in this following year. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم انصر الإسلام وأهله في كل مكان اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين ورد المسلمين إلى دينك مردا جميلا وإلى سنة نبيك مردا جميلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم اللهم قنا من عذاب القبر ومن عذاب جهنم وأدخلنا الجنة الفردوس مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار وصل اللهم على نبينا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين أقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
We stand up shoulder to shoulder, fill in the gaps, and move forward as the brother was requesting, inshallah, so that everyone, it's a spot to pray here. Allahu Akbar. Bismillah. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. ولقد جاء آل فرعون النذر كذبوا بآياتنا كلها فأخذناهم أخذ عزيز مقتدر أكفاركم خير من أولئكم أم لكم براءة في الزبر أم يقولون نحن جميع منتصر سيهزم الجمع ويولون الدبر بل الساعة موعدهم والساعة أدهى وأمر إن المجرمين في ضلال وسعر يوم يسحبون في النار على وجوههم ذوقوا مس سقر إنا كل شيء خلقناه بقدر وما أمرنا إلا واحدة كلمح بالبصر ولقد أهلكنا أشياعكم فهل من مدكر وكل شيء فعلوه في الزبر وكل صغير وكبير مستطر إن المتقين في جنات ونهر في مقعد صدق عند مليك مقتدر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله. اللهم أنت السلام منك السلام تبارك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. اللهم